just like, you know, I'm like, dude, I like that. Yeah, sometimes when I like working on stuff, we gotta fuss. Let me get back to work. All right. Hey, Al. Hey, how are you guys? Good. You made it. Yeah, and what did I want? I don't think yeah, those three things. I wondered if yeah. But you never know.
All right, thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone, again, to our 7th Whistles on the Water event. We have a lot of really nice whistles here this year. I'll just point out just a few highlights here at the start. Over on the left-hand side in positions 1 through 4, we have 4 12-inch diameter 3-note chimes. It's probably almost never happened before where you'll have 4 extraordinarily large steam whistles of that type together. There's only a very few of those left in existence, and probably the biggest single population of them is here right now. In addition, we have 2 Great Lakes car ferry whistles here that have never been here before, and that's the Ann Arbor number 6 and Ann Arbor number 7. We have 3 passenger ships, a variety of freighters, old and new. So with that, I'll get started here. Starting with the position number 1, as I was saying, this is the first of 4 12-inch diameter single-note chimes that we're going to blow today. This particular one was made by the Crosby Steam Gauge and Valve Company of Boston, Massachusetts. This whistle was installed on the Hudson Motor Car Company plant in Detroit, Michigan, down in the corner of Jefferson and Connor. And that whistle was on the plant until the plant closed in 1954. And that whistle's been in a private collection since. So this whistle would have been something that you would have heard on a daily basis on the east side of Detroit. So again, the 12-inch Crosby chime from the Hudson Motor Car Company plant.
Yeah.
whistle on position number 2 is, again, a 12-inch diameter, 3-note, single-bell chime, manufactured by the Star Brass Company. This one's rather unique in that the valve is actually integrated into the whistle. It's all one unit. And the pattern is what's referred to as the extra heavy pattern. This whistle was used on the Imperial Chemical Products plant in Boston, Massachusetts in the early parts of the last century. The whistle has been in the ownership of Mr. Harry Berry for the last 20 years. So again, this is the 12-inch diameter single-note chime made by the Star Brass Manufacturing Company of Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, the whistle on position number 3 is again another 12-inch diameter, 3-note single bell chime. And this particular whistle is from the passenger cruise vessel South American. The whistle was originally on the steamer Alabama of the Goodrich line. It dates back to 1910. In about 1950, that whistle was removed from the Alabama and put on the South American because the South American's original whistle was damaged. So from 1950 to 1967, this would be the whistle that you would have heard on the South American, and it brings back many memories to a lot of people who took class trips, family vacations, and so on. And it was a frequent sight passing right through here in the river. So, your name is? Okay, and you were aboard the South American. You took a trip. So we're going to give you an opportunity to give her a pull. Go ahead. Very good, you're a pro. Or let me see if I can do what he did. Okay, next we have the last of our 4 12-inch chimes. This being another Star Brass Manufacturing whistle that was used on the Fort Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. And I was asked earlier, why would they have a whistle on a prison? And I said, well, they really wanted a large whistle that could be really heard in every square inch of that prison. If you had an escape, or a disturbance, or a riot, or anything that needed the attention of the guards and the officials of the prison. So this would be your, this was certainly your whistle. And when you hear this, you'll know why. This has quite a sound. So again, the 12-inch diameter 3-note chime made by the Star Brass Company.
Never been here.
Okay, the whistle on position number 5 is one that we've never had here before. This is the whistle that belongs to the City of Milwaukee Car Ferry Museum up in Manistee. This is the whistle, the original whistle, from the Car Ferry Ann Arbor number 7, built by the Manitowoc Shipbuilding Company in 1925 for the Ann Arbor Railroad. And for anyone who had lived up in Frankfort or lived across the lake in Kewanee or Manitowoc, this would have been a very familiar sound from 1925 up until maybe 1960. This is an especially long whistle. This is probably the longest bell whistle that we have here today. It's 10 inches in diameter, and the bell length is 50 inches. The next longest one we've had here blown today is 48 inches. So this will probably be the deepest sounding whistle that you'll hear here all today. So again, I'm going to reach up close to blow this. I can't use the lanyard for it because you have to pull down. So I got my gloves and we're ready to go. I'll bet on the right kind of night, out on Lake Michigan, a foggy, calm night, you probably could hear that whistle for 20 miles. Okay, moving on to number 6. Again, another one that It took some research, but I was able to identify it. It was in the warehouse of the Detroit Historical Commission down in Fort Wayne. But looking at photographs and doing a lot of comparing, we were able to identify this whistle as being from the excursion steamer Put-in-Bay. The Put-in-Bay was built back in 1911 by the Detroit Shipbuilding Company at Wyandotte, Michigan for the Ashley and Dustin line. And her intended purpose was to run excursions between Detroit, Put-in-Bay, Ohio, and Cedar Point. And yes, back in 1911, there was an amusement park at Cedar Point. She would do this on a daily basis during the warm season, May through September. And when she would return to Detroit at night, she would take moonlight cruises. She would take large groups of people out on moonlight cruises on the Detroit River and Lake St. Clair for dancing and just generally enjoying the cool breeze of the moonlight. So it's very memorable for a lot of the people who were young in the teens and the 20s. The Put-in-Bay operated until 1950, 1951. The economics of that excursion to Put-in-Bay were put to an end thanks to the automobile and modern roads. So in 1953, it was decided to demolish the Put-in-Bay, and before they demolished it, they took the entire ship out into Lake St. Clair and they set the wooden superstructure on fire, burned the entire superstructure off, so all they had left was the hull, the main deck of the hull and below. That was taken to Windsor in 1954, that was scrapped. So we're lucky today that we've been able to identify that the Put-in-Bay's whistle was preserved. You're seeing it here just as it looked probably when it was taken off of the ship sometime in the early 1950s. It's probably good to assume that this whistle had not been blown until today in perhaps close to 65 years. So again, this is a 10-inch by 30-inch single note from the excursion boat Put-in-Bay. The next whistle, position number 7, was another one that through some research we were able to identify. And this one actually wasn't too difficult to identify because of one unique feature about it. This is the whistle from the city of Detroit III. This was an absolutely palatial overnight passenger ship that was heralded when it was built in 1912 as the largest side-wheeled passenger ship in the world, capable of carrying up to 5,000 passengers. I don't know where they put them all, but that's what their claim was. Anyway, this particular whistle had a real novel feature about it in that on the valve, you want to show them? The valve, 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 the val point it out to him, Chris. The valve has an electric solenoid system. You could operate this whistle two ways. You could push a button in the pilot house, or you could pull the handle down. So this was one of only two back in the day that I'm aware of, or anyone else I've talked to, that actually had this electrical system. And this was a very, very modern, far-reaching thing for that particular era. So again, this is another whistle. The City of Detroit III operated primarily from Detroit to Cleveland as an overnight passenger ship, running opposite another ship that was named City of Cleveland III. This ship was very popular with celebrities, especially with a lot of sports celebrities. Two notable ones who were frequent travelers on it were fellows by the name of Ty Cobb and Babe Ruth. They actually would travel together on this particular ship. Following World War II, the automobile had really taken hold. The airplane was coming into the picture, and the days of the overnight passenger ship were coming to an end. The City of Detroit III made a desperate attempt to try to go into the cruise business, making trips up to Mackinac Island, making trips up to Duluth. It simply wasn't economical. So she was retired in the early 1950s. Her hull, her cabins were stripped off. Her hull was scrapped in Detroit, but not until some of the beautiful, intricate woodwork was preserved. And one large example of that woodwork is at the Dawson Great Lakes Museum on Belle Isle, and this is the Gothic room. If you've ever been to the Dawson Museum, right when you walk in the door, here's this magnificent woodwork and stained glass. If you haven't, you need to go there sometime and see it. So here's one of the remnants of the City of Detroit III, a different era in travel. And we'll blow it today, not electrically, but manually. And it's another one I'm going to need to get underneath. So here we go. Okay, the next whistle, position number 8, is from the Ann Arbor Car Ferry, Ann Arbor number 6. And the Ann Arbor number 6 was built, it was originally built under contract to be used on the railroad across Lake Erie. I think it's Toronto, Hamilton, and Buffalo Rail Company line. It wasn't the name Maitland number 2. However, the Ann Arbor Railroad had used the Maitland number 1 on their route. They liked it so much that they purchased the Maitland number 2 before it was finished at the shipyard and had it named Ann Arbor number 6. So this ship went up, and again, it worked across Lake Michigan from 1916 until actually about 1982. In the early or late 50s, the ship was converted from steam power to diesel power. The whistle was removed, and actually for a short time, it was built for the Detroit Windsor Car Ferry Company. This whistle was engaged in the service of taking passengers from Detroit to Balboa Island for nearly 90 years. So it took generations of Detroiters to the amusement park. So many, many, many people have fond memories of the Columbia and her sister ship, the St. Clair, making that excursion down to Balboa Island. The sound was a very familiar sound in downtown Detroit, with departure of the ship and the echoing of this whistle around the skyscrapers of downtown Detroit. So we're so happy to have this whistle here. It's one remaining memory that a lot of people have of fond times down at Pablo. Position number 10. This is a whistle that was typical of large factories in the late 1800s. It was a concept that was patented where you had one single axis, and you had a common hole or opening going in two directions. So this is actually a two-bell chime. It's referred to as a gong. This is a 12-inch diameter gong made by the Union Water Meter Company of Worcester, Massachusetts. They made these things beginning just after the Civil War, and they ceased making them by 1900. So this is actually a very, very venerable whistle. One of the features of these is the sound is quite mellow, although it can be heard for a great distance. But maybe the other thing about it is the consumption of steam that these would actually do. So you will notice when I blow this, the amount of steam that actually comes out. So again, 12-inch diameter, two-bell gong, made by the Union Water Meter Company. Okay, whistle in position number 11. It's a well-known manufacturer of whistles. In fact, among collectors, it seems to be one of the most popular. This particular one is 10 inches in diameter, which, pardon me.
Northbound freighter.
Oh, we have a freighter coming, so we're going to give this guy a salute. Oh, good. I'm going to actually call him up on the radio. Station calling Herbert C. Jackson. Herbert C. Jackson on channel 11. Over. Thanks very much, Cap. That's the steamer Herbert C. Jackson. Earlier this morning, she completed unloading iron ore pellets down in River Rouge at the AK Steel Company. Hold on just a minute there. She's upbound again for Marquette for another load of iron ore pellets. What she saluted us with was a type of DBE 300 horn, and the last horn that I blew is the same horn that she signaled to us with. So I appreciate her very much responding to our call. Okay, getting back to where we were, position 11, this 10-inch diameter Lungenheimer, single note, 3-note chime, comes off of the Mack truck assembly plant in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This plant was in business for a good number of years, and this was on top of their boiler house to signal the beginnings and the ends of their shifts. So we're very happy to have this whistle as part of the collection here locally. And again, I'll give you a quick salute on this. whistle on position number 12. Very historic whistle to the local area. This is the whistle from the steamer Calcasieu. Calcasieu was built right here in St. Clair, over on the Pine River, at the Simon Langell shipyard way back in 1884. This was a wood-hulled ship, 178 feet in length, and the Calcasieu probably was best used in the hauling of lumber, probably occasionally coal or stone, but probably mostly lumber, up until 1920 when she was converted to a sand boat, one that would come out here and dig sand and deliver it to local docks. The Calcasieu had a good long life for a wooden vessel. She lasted until 1932. She was laid up because of the Depression at the Sidney McLeod shipyard in Marine City, and somehow on September 15, 1932, the Calcasieu caught fire and was a total loss. However, a portion of her hull was salvaged, taken down to Montreal, and was actually used as a lighter for several years after that. The manufacture of this whistle is unknown to myself. We've seen other ones like this, and just it doesn't match up with any of the illustrations or anything we have in catalog pages. So we're really not sure who made this, but it was not made at the Langell shipyard, that's for sure. Whistle's 8 inches in diameter, 30 inches in length. That's the bell size. Interesting thing, it's made entirely out of iron. It's typical back in that day that a lot of whistles, especially in applications where they wouldn't be near salt water or corrosive atmosphere, they'd simply make them out of iron rather than brass or bronze. So here we have an iron one that has managed to survive, thanks first of all to the McLeod family, and then to the Port Huron Museum. And it's the Port Huron Museum who graciously loaned this to us today for you to hear. So again, the whistle from the St. Clair built steamer Calcasieu. Whistle on position number 13. We are pleased to have that here this year. It's its first time. This is one of two whistles that were on board a ship called the Louis G. Herman. The Louis G. Herman was built way back in 1923 and was the first ship on the Great Lakes to be built from the keel up expressly for the transport of bulk cement. It was built for the Huron Cement Company of Alpena. Quite a novel thing at the time. Prior to this, cement was hauled either in sacks or barrels. So this greatly improved the efficiency of the transport of bulk cement. The ship was built at Toledo. The whistle itself is an excellent example of a Toledo Shipbuilding Company whistle. It's 10 inches in diameter, 36 inches in length. The ship was originally named the John W. Boardman, And 1965, it was given the name Louis G. Herman, and she continued to run up until the 1980 season. And following that, she spent about 20 years sitting in one port or another, being used as a storage vessel. Finally, in 2004-2005, she was taken up to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and reduced to scrap metal, except the forward cabin. Everything from the forecastle up was preserved, and now a summer home up on the St. Mary's River, just above Detour. Folks that own that summer home actually own this particular whistle. So we're very pleased that they came today to bring this whistle, and I hope everyone enjoys hearing it. Again, the 10-inch by 36-inch whistle from the Louis G. Herman. Position number 14, we have a whistle that's the same size, however made by a different shipbuilder. This is a 10-inch by 36-inch American Shipbuilding Company whistle, Cleveland, Ohio. There were a good many of these whistles installed on various bulk freighters from 1900 up until about 1930. And when I say hundreds, it was in the many hundreds. This particular whistle was actually quite a common sound on the river along here. This particular one reportedly comes from the steamer Joseph H. Frantz. Joseph H. Frantz built in Ecorse, Michigan in 1925. Had a good long career, spanning nearly 80 years. In the mid-60s, the Frantz was converted to diesel propulsion, in addition to being rebuilt as a self-unloader, which greatly extended its life, and was not disposed of until about the year 2005, when she was taken to Port Colborne and cut up for scrap metal. So what you just heard before was a 10 by 36 from the Toledo Shipbuilding Company. Now you'll hear a 10 by 36 plane from the American Shipbuilding Company. position number 15 was another popular excursion vessel, however not in this area. This ship operated over on the eastern end of Lake Erie. This was from the excursion vessel Canadiana. Canadiana operated out of Buffalo over to amusement park and beaches over in Ontario. Operated for a good many years. Spent their last years either in Cleveland, idle, or finally over in Port Colborne, where there was a group who were trying to preserve it, but simply could not do it, and the vessel was reduced to scrap. So this is an example. This is, again, another American shipbuilding company whistle. Basically the same proportions as the one on number 14, only this is a 8-inch diameter. The 8-inch diameter actually is quite unusual. I only know of a few of them, this being one, and they have a distinctly different sound. But you can see everything is just proportionately smaller, which is quite interesting that you can see this comparison of size. So again, this is the 8-inch diameter American Shipbuilding Company whistle from the excursion steamer Canadiana. Number 17, this is another type of whistle. Over in the year on the first four, we had 3-tone whistles where the individual tones were inside the barrel. The barrel was divided into 3 sectors. Each one had its own length, and that's a single bell 3-note chime. Now this one here is a 3-note chime, but it's made up of 3 distinct whistles connected together on a common manifold. This particular one has sizes 7-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch. All of the whistles have a length to diameter ratio of 3 to 1. This particular whistle comes from the crane and self-unloading ship Buckeye, which was built way back in 1910. And this particular whistle was only put on a few select vessels. The particular reason or whatever of how these ships got them is really unknown. But this ship, which was christened the Leonard B. Miller, received one of these whistles. Today, there's only a couple of these known in existence. We're very pleased today to have one of these examples of a large 3-bell chime Great Lakes whistle here. So this is one that for us in the immediate area probably won't sound that good. However, if you were about a half a mile away, it actually has a very, very nice chord. So you won't appreciate it as well as the people about a half a mile away. So this is the 3-bell chime from the steamer Buckeye. by the 1940s, things were changing. The ships were now being propelled by steam turbines. The old reciprocating engines were on their way out. These systems were closed systems. They did not use, they reused the water, so there wasn't as much water available. Steam whistles, by virtue of what they do, they're very inefficient. It takes a great deal of energy to produce all the steam that we're sending out through these whistles. So the concept of the air horn had already been created, and the Leslie Company in the 1930s came up with the steam horn. And today we have three examples, three different sizes of Leslie Python steam horns. The earliest vessels to have these were on the Great Lakes were in 1938 with the Urban class ships. Shortly thereafter, all ships had Python horns, and this continued up until the 1960s when things changed from steam horns over to air horns and piston horns. So we'll give you an example of one of those here in just a minute. So these particular three represent, I should say, the 300, the middle-sized one, actually is not from the Charles M. Beagley, but the other two are from the steamer Charles M. Beagley that was built at Toledo, Ohio in 1959 for the Shenango Furnace Company. And it's the only vessel on the Great Lakes that ever had these three sizes of Python horn. Typically, there were several Great Lakes ships that had the two larger ones, but not the small ones. So here we have examples of all three sizes, and what we're going to do, I'm going to start with the smallest one, which is the DVE 200. And that 200 means that the diaphragm is 200 millimeters in diameter. So we all know what the difference is between a whistle and a horn, right? A whistle has no moving parts. The sound is actually created by the movement of the steam, the gas, inside of the chamber of the whistle, producing an oscillating pressure wave. So the whistle itself has no moving parts. The difference with a horn is, a horn has a disc of metal that vibrates back and forth. Okay, when you put pressure against that producing a sound at 90 cycles per second. So it's a very deep sound. There's a few of the 1,000-footers that have this particular horn on them. It should be a familiar sound if you've been down here in the boardwalk. Watch the 1,000-footers blow a salute. So we're going to give her a go here. So there you have it. Here's the lineup of whistles. I appreciate everyone's attention. Thank you again.